From the streets of Hoboken to the Vegas Strip, Frank Sinatra's music all in one place. Perfectly Frank. Nothing but Sinatra.
You make me feel so young.
I got the world on a string.
To listen to Perfectly Frank, activate your subscription now by calling 844-711-8800 or head over to SiriusXM.com to sign up quickly.
Channel 41.
It's just one of those days.
Go hard all day with zeros and tens hip-hop on Flex 2K. Channel 49. Or sink into your feels with alternative anthems on Alt 2K. Listen to all of these and more 2000s channels across SiriusXM and the SiriusXM app.
Game on SiriusXM.
This team never stops.
Hear your hometown announcers on the all-new SiriusXM app.
They celebrate at home plate.
And talk baseball every day with our team of former players and executives on MLB Network Radio, Channel 89.
There's just something magical about baseball.
To listen to MLB Network Radio, activate your radio now. Call 844-711-8800 or head to SiriusXM.com/go to sign up quickly.
We want you to see them. SiriusXM Video lets you watch your favorite SiriusXM shows on the SiriusXM app. Groundbreaking interviews, amazing in-show moments, behind-the-scenes footage, live performances, all come to life in a way you only imagined before. Plus, you can create your own personalized Pandora station based on the artists you love. And hear over 100 extra channels filled with ad-free music for every mood or occasion. Get your first 6 months of our Platinum plan for only $8.33 per month, plus fees and taxes. Just call 844-711-8800 to take advantage of this amazing offer.
There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, let's see. You gotta get this. You gotta get this.
If you've been thinking about buying a home, you need to be in the zone, the home buying zone. You need a game plan to win in this great real estate market. The Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage has all your bases covered. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, purchasing your dream home, refinancing, consolidating debt, or even considering a reverse mortgage, contact the Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage today. They have the lowest closing costs and they'll close your loan on time, guaranteed, or they'll pay your first mortgage payment. And they even have a 3.5% purchase down payment grant that can get you into a home with little money out of your pocket. It doesn't get more clutch than that, folks. Score big on the biggest purchase of your life. Call Equity Zone Mortgage today at 1-800-772-8624. That's 1-800-772-8624. Or apply online at equityzonemortgage.com and tell them Big C sent you, as heard on the Big C Sports Podcast. License number 018-14868.
Rondo Deportes, Bonjour, Vidi Vidi Vici, Nam Yo Rekeo, Nam Yo Rekeo, Nam Yo Rekeo. Let's get ready to rumble! Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton of Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to me, and people who love the universe. And that would include you. What a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be my neighbor? Shut up! Fool, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. You know, I told you, they thought they were voting for Harris and Walsh, but they forgot to add in Big C also running for president. I didn't know it was president of the United States. And they voted me in. You gotta check your ballot. You gotta do your research. I might be the next president of the United States of America. You know the first bill I'm gonna sign is reparations now, reparations forever. Because it's the just thing to do. It's the just thing to do. What a beautiful day on Wednesday, August 7th, 2024. Today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. When you go by and test drive yours, tell them sent you where the good Lord spit you. And hopefully the good Lord didn't spit you too wide. We do a lot of spitting ourselves wide on our own when we get in line to order the double-double. What you order, Big C? I said, I want the double-double. 2 all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, collard greens, and cheese on a bun. I've eaten so much watermelon. Yesterday, my brother Anthony, he brought me some cantaloupe and he brought me some peaches. I said, Anthony, where are the collard greens? He said, I don't have any collard greens. I said, that's not true. Mama said you were going to bring me some collard greens. And he said, well, I don't have no collard greens. I said, you know you ate them. You won't tell me. He said, man, if you want the peaches or the melon, and so I grabbed the watermelon. He said, no, don't take the watermelon. I'll give you the cantaloupe. So he gave me the cantaloupe, and I got what I got. I don't want to complain about it, but I've been eating cantaloupe and watermelon. Man, that is right. I tell you, it gives you a lot of energy. Oh, for number one, sometimes growing up, my brothers and I, Mama would be cooking that food and keeping the ribs in the oven, and we go in there and try to sneak more than our own share. Some things haven't changed. Oh my goodness! Thank you, Elodie, for bringing up the peaches and the cantaloupe. I want to say, as I tell you what I do, Big C Sports Podcast, I'm one beautiful, intelligent black man. I'm going to talk about some NFL football today. I may even get in some Major League Baseball, but I also want to talk about some of the power rankings for players, the owners that own these NFL teams. Most of them, you can trace their lineage back to the Homestead Act, where the government gave their family members, their ancestry, over 300 million acres of land. That's 160 acres each for every white man and even white Europeans. And now some of those people, after the years of having that land and being able to start a business, going to the bank and get loans, their great-great-grandchildren were able to buy professional sports teams. What? Yeah, professional sports teams, because the Homestead Act gave white people a head start. That's why there's no African-American owners of a professional sports team in the United States. What about Michael Jordan, Big C, and Magic Johnson? They don't own a team. They own an interest in a team, a small percentage of a team. But most of these good old boys, they can trace their money back to the Homestead Act or from lineage of slavery people who had all that free labor built up. That's why my first day in office, I'm going to sign reparations now. Reparations forever. It's going to be the Just Act Part 2. If you Google the Just Act Part 1, that was for descendants of Holocaust getting their money with the help of the United States Department of Justice and the German government, and now it's going to be for descendants of child slavery. We're going to do the right thing. That's my first day in office. In the meantime, I always produce the show. I direct the topics. I broadcast all the shows. I do all the sound effects based on the platform provided by the agency. We could all use more laughter. I know I could use more laughter. And people were laughing when they realized that, what? Big C won president? How could he ever get the vote? I said, count all the votes. Count all the votes. Big C now is the 47th president of the United States of America. May lightning strike, as long as it doesn't strike me. That makes sense, yeah. And then the commercials are done. The stats are provided. I even do the storytelling. And then I do the play-by-play like the Olympics. Steph Curry 4-3. Yes! Get the hole in your life. You know what? I hope that LeBron James' eye is okay. Someone tried to poke his eye out. I'm going to make that illegal, poking at the eyes of your opponents when I'm president of the United States of America. People thought it was funny. He won? I thought I was joking when he said he's running for president. Yeah, I thought I was running for a neighborhood president. I didn't know I was running for president of the universe. But they voted me in, and I will not let you down. I'm going to say no new taxes. I'm going to say free health care, free education. Everybody gets a free house. You even get a free horse. I don't want that mule. I want 400 acres and a horse. And you get a free car, free business, free everything. Tell me Big C Sports the best president in the history of the universe. Big C, how are you going to pay for all this stuff? Don't worry about it. We got the printing machines. That's it. You know what? People think I'm joking. I think that speech could win. Kamala Harris, maybe you should have had a second vice president, if that makes sense. And then the show's uploaded to 29 podcast applications all over the universe, coming out of New York City, and then streaming on 4 TV platforms like Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Number 10, I never missed a show. since starting Big C Sports with the crew back in the day at Salem Media. I'm telling you, it was the first time in the history of the United States of America that the Salem Media, the Wall Street Business Network, was carrying live NFL Monday Night Football. Because of two black men in the crew, they made budget for the first time in 44 years in 1 month. And then the good old boys said, wait a minute, if two black guys can do it, then we can bring in some good old boys. And they created shenanigans. And the show went away. They were willing to lose all that money because they didn't want to give two black men the credit. And when I'm president, not only am I going to be the best president in the history of the universe, you know who my running mate's going to be? You gotta wait. You gotta wait until they both be in. I got a great surprise. You talk about surprise. I got a great surprise. My running mate, we're gonna dominate the universe. And if you don't vote for us, we're gonna send Darth Vader to ask you why you didn't vote for Big C. Oh, Lord have mercy. I'm gonna tell you, all that cantaloupe made me a little bit loopy. I want to also say with Big C Sports Podcast, I love saying that we're streaming on 4 TV platforms: Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV, and then some contacts to have more opportunities for a TV, and I really do appreciate that. At the same time, I love paying homage to what's called the Veterans Crisis Hotline, because our military people, they need help at times. We all need help, but they have been asked to defend this country, put their lives on the line, and sometimes it can create post-traumatic stress disorder. And I love paying homage to the Veterans Crisis Hotline. I do it every show because a mind is a terrible thing to waste, and they really are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help. If you know anybody going through issues, pick up the phone, call 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. Or you can go online to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And when you do, you want to give it some praise, because we all need somebody to lean on, especially when you realize that you actually voted for Big C for the president. I'm just as qualified as anybody else because I'm factual. I will tell you, unlike the orange guy that says, do not fact check what I'm saying. In fact, do not fact check it. That's what he told the National Association of Black Journalists. And they should have said, if we can't fact check you, we're not going to do the interview. If we can't fact check you, we're not doing the interview. What a shame. What the Walter Cronkite said, only the facts, just the facts. Well, the Big C's want to give you just the facts. You can fact check everything I say, and that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I do want to say, yeah, and I am running for president. I wrote my name in on the ballot last time. I didn't get that many votes, but they didn't know who I was. Yeah, they know more now. I'm running for Kamala Harris. People say, well, she's not black enough. I said, if a white man's going to question if a black woman's black enough, obviously he needs to Google Dr. Leakey and Gregory Mendel. Who's Dr. Leakey and Gregory Mendel, Big C? Dr. Leakey is considered the world's foremost scientist. He opined that all life came from Africa, from the womb of a black woman. Gregory Mendel, he's considered the world's foremost scientist. He considered that the dark gene is dominant, that the light gene is recessive, that you can get the recessive traits from the dominant gene, but you cannot get the dominant genes from the recessive traits. That's Mendel. And Dr. Leakey said, if you know where you come from, maybe you respect your root a little better. Luke, I am your father. When Darth Vader said he was your father, you know he was black. He was black. In James Earl Jones' voice, all fair level work. I'm having fun. I'm going to bring that up too. But I got to also say, because I know the Olympics is amazing, people having a great time with the Olympics, watching people run the great races over in Paris, France. Oui, monsieur. Bonjour. I'm going to tell you, I'm doing something else on Big C Sports Podcast. I got an attorney by the name of Augustus Corbett. I want to play some excerpts from him because he's a brilliant, beautiful, intelligent black man. He and his wife down in Texas, and he has some great things to say about Project 2025 that some people don't even know what it is. And I want to bring that up. I'm just telling you, there's so many things that I do appreciate. I want to thank DC for being on the show yesterday with Big C Sports Podcast. Got a lot of things doing and coming up with him. Really do appreciate that. I got a commercial. It's more like an infomercial, Big C. Okay, an infomercial. And pay attention because we may have a quiz when I'm done. They say faith comes by hearing, so pay attention. I have a guide to protect, preserve, and transfer wealth, Resource Development Consulting, Inc., in conjunction with the law office of Scott Thibodeau and Attorney Jones Jones. The missing link is long-term care, solutions by the book, over 3 decades of experience, helping seniors get their benefits, Medicare and you taking care of tomorrow. In California, it's called Medi-Cal. In other states, it's called Medicaid. Your family and spouse can avoid the spend down for nursing home costs. You can find out your options, 800-772-8624. That's 800-772-8624. 800-772-8624. And just tell them Big C sent you. Our promise to you to specialize, to navigate, and maximize long-term care benefits, protection of your assets without a spend down. The asset test is over in California, and all paperwork and communication with all government agencies are handled by a staff of entitlement specialists. We have ongoing consulting to provide updates as necessary, benefits covering skilled nursing facilities, prescription medications, medical equipment costs, and more. Have you ever known anyone to deal with skilled nursing facilities? Have you ever known anyone to deal with medical prescriptions? You know, like the ones you took this morning. Have you ever known anyone to deal with medical equipment costs? And more. Not only that, protection of your assets, if that makes sense to you, including your home, thereby allowing you to leave a legacy for your family. You know, I've been telling you many, many times, long ago in a galaxy far, far away, I became a Trekkie and also a fan of Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back. The USS Starship Enterprise on its 5-year mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, and to boldly go where no man or woman has gone before. Warp speed straight ahead, Atlantic strike. Well, the USS Starship Enterprise with the Captain James T. Kirk, they had Scotty and also Spock. They were cruising throughout the universe, and they came out of warp drive, and they saw this big shiny planet. It was one of 9 planets. It was big, beautiful, and black. You know, like Donald Trump said, the planet's not black enough, if that makes sense to you. It was big, beautiful, and black, and it had this shiny beeping, this little beeping light. And Captain Kirk said, well, that's a beautiful planet, but it's somewhat peculiar because it has a blinking light. And Scotty said, yeah, it's a pretty planet, but I've never seen a planet with a light like that. And Spock said, yes, I would love to give it the Vulcan mind meld so I can see what's inside of it. And then Captain Kirk said, well, in the meantime, Scotty, why don't you raise the shields? And Scotty said, well, why, Captain? It's just a shiny black planet. And Spock said, yes, I can't do the Vulcan mind meld if you raise the shields, Captain Kirk. And just as Captain Kirk said, well, come on, just raise the shields for me. And then they heard over the PA system, this is an order from Starfleet Command and the Federation, the Empire Strikes Back. This is Captain Darth Vader of the USS Death Star. I have orders from Starfleet Command. Do not raise your shields because that may be considered an act of war. I'm telling you, do not raise the shields. And Captain Kirk said, well, who are you? I've never heard that command from Starfleet. He said, that's why they told me to tell you, Captain Kirk. Scotty and Spock. And Captain said, well, how do you know our names? And he said, I use the Force. If you search your feelings, you'll feel us through. I am your father. And you always should do what your daddy says. So do not raise those shields. And Captain Kirk said, it doesn't make any sense that he knows our name. Scotty, why don't you raise the shields anyway? And Spock said, well, Captain, he didn't say he's your daddy. And Spock said, he's not my daddy. My daddy's green. He's not Scotty's daddy. Scotty's daddy left a long time ago. Kirk, are you sure he's not your dad? He said, Spock, are you out of your Vulcan mind? Raise the shields. And just as they went to raise the shields, Darth Vader said, trust your instinct. I am your father. In fact, I have a great trade-off. I will send you not only Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Lando Calrissian, Han Solo, and 2 robots called C-3PO and R2-D2, but you must not raise your shields that way because it's an act of war. And Scotty said, Scotty, Spock, Captain Kirk, what do you think we should do? Spock said, are you out of your Vulcan mind? Raise the shields now. So they raised the shields, and just in the nick of time, they said, warp speed straight ahead. And they got out of the territory of the Death Star as that razor beam was about to pulse. It was going to sting the Starship Enterprise. But Captain Kirk, he trusted it. He trusted his instinct. Like a lot of business owners, you got to trust. You got to have a trust to protect your assets. If you don't, you may get struck down by the Death Star called an attorney, and they come to steal, kill, and destroy. Protect your assets. With the trust, we do that, avoiding the nightmare of debt brought by the government, the state recovery program. It can be from 10 to 40%. If you haven't noticed yet, I've been auditioning for Star Wars 29 and Star Trek 25, or vice versa. Either way, I'm auditioning. Because if I don't get that role, I may have to become your president of the United States. The 47th president of the United States of America, Big C Sports, may let these strike. You go, what, he won? The second black guy out of 4 tries? Come on now. Yeah, the second black guy out of 4 tries. Obama won it twice. Jesse Jackson got declined, and now they voted Big C as the president of the United States. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. We have a one-time processing fee versus monthly insurance premiums for the rest of your life. I'm not done yet. Why you should have a trust for asset protection. The protection insurance coverage required by a law, general liability, workers' compensation, lawyers specializing in living trust, Medicaid or Medi-Cal planning for long-term care, avoid probate, life insurance, veterans benefits, aid and attendance. We have pre-planning and avoid the look-back period. And then a trust also protects your fixed assets. So when Darth Vader comes to town and he said, do not raise your shields, a trust protects your bank account, your checking account, your savings account, your money market account, your certificates of deposit, life insurance with cash values, your fixed indexed annuities. But not only that, a trust also protects your real estate, your qualified money, IRA, 401k, and other investments. For example, you can avoid capital gains. Let's say you buy a house for $100,000. And in 1 year, it appreciates to $1 million. Well, that's a $900,000 capital gains. You avoid that with a trust. If that makes sense to you, attention business owners. Attention business owners. Attention business owners. With over 3 decades of experience, find out your other options to protect what your insurance does not cover. 800-772-8624. That's 800-772-8624. And when people say, well, Big C, why would we trust you? What makes you feel so confident that we should trust you, Big C? I'm glad you asked. Most companies, if they're reputable, they give you their references. Now, if they don't give you references, because most of them don't have references, but we do. But not only that, we have the endorsement of the late James Gomez, who advised 4 California governors in changing California's nursing homes. He also served on Golden One's board of directors for 21 years. The late James Gomez, he was the CEO of the California Association of Health Facilities. He endorsed the RDC team, but not only that, we have the late Robert Carlson. He was the top legal mind for CalPERS. He endorsed the RDC team, but not only that, we have George Jones. He's the chairman of the California Black Chamber of Commerce. He endorsed the RDC team, but not only that, he works with us, the California Black Chamber of Commerce Foundation. Not only that, we have Mr. Leon Woods, a resource development consulting, works with many of the top lobbyists in California. But not only that, we have Miss Cheryl Brown. She's the chair of the California Commission on Aging. She endorsed the RDC team. But not only that, we have Mr. Ray De La Cruz. He's the CEO of Resource Development Consulting, been doing his thing for over 34 years. But not only that, we have Mr. Alex De La Cruz. He's the founder of American Veterans Benefits. Not only that, he endorses the RDC team. And not only that, we have Charlton Curry, who's the co-chair of the National Black Wall Street Project. Also, a business development consultant for the RDC team. But not only that, owner of Big C Sports Podcast Corporations. But not only that, we have Double O. She's the payout committee for the National Black Wall Street Project. She's also a consultant with the RDC team. But not only that, she has her own economics of development talk show called Let's Eat. It's Economic Awareness Talks. You can Google it on Access Sacramento. And she endorsed the RDC team. You got to give that some praise. I said, give it praise, praise, praise. But not only that, we have the 47th president of the United States of America. His name is Big C Sports. And I endorse the RDC team. You're gonna wanna see who my vice presidential pick is. You're not gonna wanna miss it. When I announce my VP, may lightning strike. You're not gonna wanna miss it. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. And people know I'm gonna win. Some people say he won. I thought I was dreaming. No, Big C won. The next president of the United States. I tell you, everybody gets a free. Everything's free. It's all free. If that makes sense, dear. I want to tell you, because whatever my brother put in the cantaloupe yesterday, it made me regular. And I ate the seeds. I hate the seeds at all. I was talking to Bishop Wynn this morning and how he loves cantaloupe too. And he owns Wynn Network. And we talk about when we eat cantaloupe and watermelon, we eat the seeds. He said, I don't spit nothing out. I said, you know what? You must have come from the same loins I came from. I don't spit nothing out either. I love the seeds. I love eating the seeds. In fact, I want to plant some seeds as I plant these seeds for you. And hopefully they will bear fruit. I'm one of the only sports shows in the universe that pays homage to the California Reparations Task Force, because I know a mind is a terrible thing to waste. And I don't want to waste my mind. And you shouldn't waste your mind either. I believe as we push for reparations, and you got to realize we have a blueprint. If you recall the Wizard of Oz growing up the way I did, they had this slogan that Dorothy said, follow the yellow brick road. You got to follow the yellow brick road. Unless you walk around in the snow, you don't want to follow that yellow brick. As my brothers and I, sometimes we mark our territory by leaving some yellow lemonade so you can find out where we came from. Hey, we did the best we could, okay? And I'm going to be your president, so don't laugh. I got to tell you, I want to pay homage to the California Reparations Task Force, because I think I'm the only sports show in the universe that does that. Most people are shucking and jiving, but I want to give credit where credit is due. I want to give credit to the Secretary of the State of California, Dr. Shirley Weber. She worked with the California Governor Gavin Newsom to create a task force to study reparations a few years ago. And they put together a nice team of 9 people, like 9 series DNA. I want to give praise to those two, that man and woman, California Governor Gavin Newsom and Secretary of the State, Dr. Shirley Weber. But they chose as the chair Camila Moore. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. She's also an attorney that specializes in reparative justice. She also photobombed the BC Sports when I was at the Secretary of State building taking pictures. She photobombed it. Now, Camila Moore, you know it's true. I want you to repair that photograph by coming on the BC Sports podcast. You know it's time. Yes, you know it's time. I really do appreciate you. I want to give praise to Dr. Amos C. Brown, the Vice Chair of the California Reparations Task Force. He actually came on the BC Sports podcast and did a great job about 3 months ago. I love giving you praise. I'm going to give praise to California Senator Stephen Bradford. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. He actually is also responsible for authoring name, image, and likeness that helps college student athletes get paid on their name, image, and likeness. You'll hear a lot about that as football starts up. He also helped craft the Ebony Alert that helps law enforcement put the same amount of resources into finding missing black children as the Amber Alert puts into finding missing white children. He's the one who did that. The brother's brilliant. But not only that, he's a lot like Moses. When God took Moses in Exodus 10, he said, go down into Egypt and tell Pharaoh to let my people go. And Moses said to God, well, who do I tell him sent me? And God said, tell him I am sent you. And he went down and did it. And rumor has it, Senator Bradford, that I met several times in his office and at Reparations Task Force, when he was talking to God, and God said, go down to the state capitol and tell the Senate and the legislators, I said, pass reparations. And when Senator Bradford said to God, he said, well, who do I tell him sent me? And God said, tell him I am sent you. You know, they passed Senate Bill 1403, 1331, and Senate Bill 1050. And they're still passing the bills. And that was Senator Bradford, who spoke like Moses. And I want to give him praise. I said, give him praise, praise, praise. And no other sports show in the universe will give him praise. Now, don't have on guys like Cat Williams and Mr. Sharp and able to get people to tearing down other people. Don't tear people down. Let's build people up. Let's build people up. Join the big city. Now that I'm president, I command you to build people up. May lightning strike. That's my story. I love giving Senator Bradford praise. I'm going to give praise to Council Member Monica Montgomery Stepp. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I'm going to give praise to Assembly Member Reginald Jones Sawyer. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I want to give praise to Dr. Shell Grills. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to Attorney Lisa Holder. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. She specializes in diversity, equity, and inclusion. So you know POTUS 45 wouldn't want her to be around doing good work for good people, for liberty and justice for all. And that's what she champions, for liberty and justice for all. Not just the good old boys and the oligarchy and the cronyism and the nepotism. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to Dr. Javon Scott Lewis, professor at California, Berkeley. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I'm going to give praise to Attorney Donald K. Tamaki. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. Part of the California Reparations Task Force. And as a Japanese American, his ancestry actually got reparations. You got to give that some praise. May lightning strike! We want the Just Act. You can Google the Just Act, the Just Act. We did it for our descendants of Holocaust brethren, and we give that praise. And next is descendants of chattel slavery, African Americans. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. And if you don't believe me, I want you to hear the best speaker in the history of the world to ever talk about reparations. And listen with your own eyes and ears.
Martin Luther King, we had a conversation a couple days ago about handouts and how these right-wing memes, these Republican memes, have infiltrated the Democratic debate to suggest that, ending welfare as we know it, all those kind of things are somehow, great and noble things, when we're not dealing with the underlying problem, which is that there's no economic opportunity there because of insane trade policies and because of Reaganomics. And Martin Luther King spoke to this. Jim and Shane, this is clip number 4. Martin Luther King spoke to this sometime back in the early 60s. And I thought this was a really interesting quote. Here he is.
The problem. At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with. And this is a reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
From his speech, The Two Nations of Black America. And it's absolutely brilliant. And the next time some white person talks about, well, I pulled myself up by my bootstraps and my family did too, especially the Bundy boys. I mean, here's Martin Luther King, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., talking about how basically whites stole the West from the Indians with the complete, and didn't just steal it, murdered them, murdered the Indians in the process, and did not give any of these benefits to African Americans for 100 years in this country. It's a strong case for reparations or some variation on it, for rebuilding our cities, for doing right after having done wrong for so many centuries. It is a very, very strong case for that.
Reparations now! Reparations forever! I love saying reparations now and reparations forever. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I love talking about reparations, but I also want to give you some sports after I let you hear about what's going on in the world of politics.
The battle for the Midwest is on in the race for the White House. Vice President Kamala Harris with her new running mate and former President Trump's VP nominee, J.D. Vance, holding dueling rallies in the must-win state of Wisconsin today. Our D.C. Bureau Chief Ben Kennedy is live at the White House with more. Ben.
Nicole Harris said the path to the White House is through Wisconsin as both campaigns rallied supporters in that state today. Vice President Kamala Harris and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz hit the campaign trail with a stop in Wisconsin Wednesday afternoon.
Good afternoon, Wisconsin!
It comes one day after Harris named Walz as her running mate, and since that announcement, their campaign says it raised more than $20 million.
I couldn't be prouder to be on this ticket to help make Kamala Harris the next president of the United States.
Meanwhile, about 3 miles away in the same state,
I think we ought to say to Kamala Harris, you are...
Latin is Drake! You got someone representing 34 indictments on one side and the other abuses that have happened in the court system. Well, that's my story, but you can also Google it if that makes sense to you. Lightning Strike with Big C Sports Podcast. You never know. It's like a box of chocolate. You never know which one you're going to get. But I do know I'll probably take each one that I can get my hands on. As the next president of the United States, I do want to play a message from Attorney Augustus Corbett, the Defiant Lawyers, and about the American Bar Association. You'll hear it on Big C Sports.
I'm so happy that an organization that I'm a part of, the American Bar Association, has created a task force to protect democracy from Donald Trump. Although they don't say that, we know that's what this is all about. Trump is a threat, an existential threat to our democracy. And again, I'm elated to be a part of an organization, a professional organization, the ABA, who is interested in taking very seriously the threat that our democracy faces. I want to talk to you about that in this video. Stay with me. Hello, I am Attorney Augustus Corbett. Welcome to the Defiant Lawyers. I'm one half of the Defiant Lawyers, and each and every week we bring you at least one legal analysis of some trending story regarding politics, policies, personalities, or pop culture to empower you with the information you need to defy this unjust legal system and to nullify systemic racism. If that interests you, please like, share, comment, subscribe, and click the bell. Thank you for staying with me. Now, as I said, the American Bar Association, an organization of over 1 million lawyers around the country, has created a task force to protect our democracy. I want to talk to you about some of the things that this task force intends to do between now and the November election. Now, before we get into that, I want to encourage you to go to Amazon, grab a copy of my book, Education and Justice. I promise you, if you have an African-American boy in public schools, you need this book. Also, we're coming to the end of our summer reading program. If you want to still try to register your son so that we can have at least 3 or 4 weeks trying to help you get his reading level up if it's down, then go to our website at lljp.org and you can register him there. We'll do whatever we can to help you increase his reading level, again, if it's down.
So not only do I want to bring you snippets about what's going on in the world of politics, because we got to keep our eyes open, your eyes and ears open, but I want to also give you an update from the Olympics in Paris, France, from Big C Sports.
Tonight, Gabby Thomas delivered, smoking the field and winning the gold in the 200-meter sprint.
It's gold for USA!
I know I've earned it. I've trained so hard for this, but there is no feeling like earning an Olympic gold medal.
While in a much longer race, the 1500, an upset by Team USA's Cole Hocker, who not only won gold, but set an Olympic record.
Cole Hocker wins gold!
In soccer, Team USA's match against Germany was an absolute nail-biter. Team USA's Sophia Smith came through big in the 95th minute.
Smith does get there!
They'll play Brazil in the gold medal match. After the first round of basketball was held outside of the city, today the first games in Paris, thanks to an Olympic-sized transformation.
Here in Paris, the Bercy Arena has been transformed from gymnastics to basketball. The hardwood is down, the hoops are up. Simone and Suni got gold inside this arena. Now it's time for LeBron and Steph to do the same.
They're on their way, tonight beating Brazil and moving on to the semis. At Surfing in Tahiti, a special cameo from a whale.
That's a perfect 10.
And a gold medal for American Caroline Marks.
Caroline Marks gets an exit.
While in sport climbing, American Sam Watson broke a world record, scaling the wall in just 4.75 seconds.
A new Olympic record and a new world record.
The history continuing at wrestling.
And Anita Lohr will finish strong.
Where the youngest American woman to wrestle in the Olympics, 20-year-old Amit Elor, won gold.
Today has been the best day of my whole entire life.
And Cuba's Mijaín Lopez became the first person to win the same event at 5 straight Olympics. After the match, leaving his shoes on the mat, a tradition in wrestling to signify retirement. What a way to end a career. Tom Llamas, NBC News, Paris.
May lightning strike! this is Big C Sports. I want to bring you happenings from Paris, France, and also I'll get into my own talk.
United States of America.
A moment years in the making. Team USA's figure skaters finally getting their gold medals right here in Paris.
We've been dreaming of this since we left Beijing without those medals.
It was a dream come true because we had always wanted to have that Olympic moment.
The medal ceremony they should have had in Beijing was derailed by a doping scandal.
Does it get any more precise than that?
What a tremendous result for Team USA.
News broke that Russian skater Kamila Valieva tested positive for a banned substance before the Games. At the time, Valieva said she may have been contaminated by her grandfather's heart medication. The 15-year-old Valieva helped propel the Russian team to a first-place finish.
Second place.
The U.S. finishing in second. But an investigation was immediately launched into the doping allegation. No one was getting medals.
We were supposed to be leaving for the ceremony, I don't know, within 10 minutes, and then we got the news that it was postponed, and then soon after that it was canceled.
But due to this, it was like, oh my gosh, where are we at? Confusion, frustration, excitement. It's like, it was just, we were all over the place.
Valieva was eventually banned from the sport for 4 years. Her results in Beijing thrown out. Appeals took years. The Court of Arbitration for Sport confirmed Team USA won gold the day before the Paris opening ceremony.
Should it have happened faster?
You know what? I think I'm very grateful that the time was taken to make sure that the decision was the right one.
They are also happy to be here, and unlike Beijing, their families were in the stands.
How many family members are we talking about?
Oh my gosh,
I've got
so
a group
many.
of 10. I think collectively we have like 30
I've got a
people.
group of 5. Yeah.
All here to celebrate recognition a long time coming, but no less deserved. Stephanie Gosk, NBC News, Paris.
Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. The USA getting the goal that they should have gotten without the improprieties of some blood doping. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. I'm going to also bring you some talk on what's happening with the NFL.
Tonight, Quincy Hall digging deep and coming from way back to overtake the field in the final moments of the 400-meter to win gold.
It's gold for the USA! Kenneth Rooks is resilient!
In steeplechase, underdog American Kenneth Rooks running an incredible race and taking silver.
Team USA medals!
And in the 200-meter, Noah Lyles cruising through the semis, one step closer in his quest to win both the 100 and 200-meter sprints. Meanwhile, Team USA breaking 2 long medal droughts. The artistic swimming team winning silver, celebrating their first medal in 20 years.
We just approached today like calm, confident, like any other day, and then now we're here.
And in weightlifting, Hampton Morris became the first American man to win a medal in 4 decades. What a start. Over at skateboarding, Tom Schaar barely made the Olympics team. Today, he became a silver medalist in men's park.
Tom Schaar. Wow. Talk to me about the flag draped around your shoulders. You have a silver medal. I mean, what does that feel like?
Yeah, I mean, the chances were pretty slim of me getting here. I barely qualified last second, so I'm just really trying to enjoy the moment right now.
Team USA!
And another surprise medal in women's cycling team pursuit. Team USA winning its first ever gold. It's the second of the games for Alaska native Kristen Faulkner, who shocked everyone by winning Sunday's road race. In basketball, the women of Team USA now just 2 wins away from their 8th straight gold medal. Today, beating Nigeria and advancing to the semis. While the venue used for 3x3 basketball now mid-makeover.
And the venue is being transformed into one of the most talked about events of these games, breaking. There's going to be a DJ booth, a circular stage, and breakdancers from all over the world.
Breaking will make its much anticipated Olympic debut on Friday.
And Tom, looking ahead to tomorrow, could be the biggest night yet for track.
Yeah, it's going to be a big night. First up, Sydney McLaughlin-Lebroni. She runs in the 400-meter hurdles. She likely will win the gold medal. And then, of course, Noah Lyles going for that elusive double. He won the 100 meters. He's now going for the 200 tomorrow. The problem is he has some stiff competition, including from 2 of his teammates who are putting up very fast times. Lester, it's going to be an amazing race.
All right, Tom, thanks very much.
Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Wanted to bring you some updates from Paris, France on the Olympics and how great the Americans are doing. and we wish them nothing but the best. I do want to touch on some things with Big City Sports Podcast. Of course, get out and vote. You got to get out and vote. You got to vote. If you don't vote, then don't complain. I do want to update you with Big City Sports Podcast on the 2024 NFL owners, the power rankings. When I look at some of the NFL owners and what they add to a franchise is not easy. Most work behind the scenes, and their most visible decisions are head coaching and general managers. When you think about some of the power players in the world of NFL sports, as I become president of the United States of America, I'm going to make sure that they open up the doors to diversity when it comes to owning professional sports teams, where we're not left out of. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. But I do want to say, no matter what you think about the NFL ownership, it's an oligarchy of power, and if you're not part of that oligarchy, it's hard to get in. When we think about the owners, I think about Bob Kraft, the owner of the New England Patriots. Obviously, he's one of the most winningest owners of NFL football over the last 2 decades with the success that the New England Patriots have had. They had 7 Super Bowl championships, and that's pretty impressive when you think about how hard it is to get there. And not only getting there, but winning is an important thing that they've done. But I want to also say, when it comes to ownership in the NFL, it's clear that some owners are just better at running successful teams, and Bob Kraft is one of them. If you think about the days of Ed DeBartolo, where he was considered maybe the best owner of an NFL franchise for the San Francisco 49ers, until some things happened in the gaming industry. Also, Al Davis, the late Al Davis, owner of the Oakland Raiders at that time. But when it comes to these great, powerful football leagues, it's clear that some owners are just better. Bob Kraft has a hands-off approach when it comes to his coaches. He lets them coach. The great Bill Belichick's no longer the coach, but we assume the most important person in our organization is the one at the top, and it's fair to judge that. But when I think about teams winning Super Bowls, you can't find much better than Bob Kraft, owner of the New England Patriots, and being a generally successful winning franchise and staying out of controversy, even though he had his own controversy down in Florida. But as the 3 main criteria construct the order, a few placements on the list, I'm going to just bring it. It's my own opinion. I'm going to say Bob Kraft is the best owner of an NFL franchise. Over the last 2 decades, no surprise that he's at the top of that. The Patriots franchise, he took ownership in 1994. He built a dynasty, winning 6 Super Bowls between 2000 and 2019. The hiring of head coach Bill Belichick was one of the main reasons. It's going to go down as one of the greatest hires in NFL history, though stumbling into the quarterback of Tom Brady, a 6th-round pick out of University of Michigan, played at Sarah High School in San Mateo, California on the peninsula. Probably more lucky than anything else that Kraft managed the relationship to last 20 years. That's very impressive. But I also got to go to number 2, the team that may be looking to take over the ranks of the best ownership in the NFL. You got to look at the Clark Hunt of the Kansas City Chiefs. The Hunt inherited the Chiefs franchise in 2006 after the death of his father, and the overseer of their transformation into a perennial playoff team and arguably a dynasty in Kansas City. They're looking for a 3-peat. I don't know if it's going to happen. It's never happened in the NFL. But Kansas City has steadily improved as a team since Hunt took over and culminated in 8 straight AFC West championships and 3 Super Bowl wins in the last 5 years. Hunt's hire of head coach Andy Reid has proved to be his best decision so far, as it was Reid who made the franchise-altering decision to trade up for a quarterback touchdown Patrick Mahomes when he came out of college in the Big 12. He played at Texas Tech. These 2 are really among the best when it comes to ownership, Kraft, and also the Hunt family. But they have a lot of benefits. When you think about how they got there, the NFL's been open to white men running their franchises. So that's just a fact. I'm hoping that those tear those walls down, if that makes sense to you. I got to also bring up number 3, Steve Bisciotti, owner of the Baltimore Ravens. He purchased minority stake in the Ravens in 2000, with the NFL later approving his majority purchase in 2004. He immediately began work on overhauling the Baltimore Ravens facility and has invested a considerable amount of money into his franchise. He surprised many by hiring longtime Eagles coordinator John Harbaugh as head coach in 2007, but Harbaugh has since won a Super Bowl against the 49ers and is considered one of the league's top coaches. The Ravens are widely considered one of the best teams in NFL football. And then, in my opinion, again, it's just my opinion. People have their own thoughts about it. I'm going to tell you, a team that has one of the great owners, I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers. The shareholders of the Green Bay Packers, the team owned by its fans, slots in Big C's thoughts as one of the top 4 franchises also, which goes to show how low the bar is for ownership or how many bad owners there are out there. Team president Mark Murphy serves as the individual leader for the Green Bay Packers, representing the team at owners' meetings and casting votes on big decisions. Murphy will be replaced by Ed Policy next year after Murphy's mandatory retirement at age 70, and the Policy was appointed by the team's board, which also rotates members. The Green Bay Packers have won several Super Bowls. Clearly, the public ownership model, it clearly works. And then one of the more, I guess, recent, you could say a nouveau riche to the NFL pantheon of ownership, Jerry Jones with the Dallas Cowboys put him at number 5. Jones is perhaps the most difficult owner to rank for a variety of reasons. The former standout college football player at the University of Arkansas when they played in the Big 8, Jerry Jones bought the Cowboys in 1989. He made his mark on the franchise by installing himself as both president and general manager. Had great success with Hall of Fame head coach Jimmy Johnson in the 1990s, winning 3 Super Bowls before that relationship kind of had some turbulence in it, if that makes sense to you. And then they departed ways. But since then, the Cowboys have failed to reach even the NFC Championship and have been mired in mediocrity for several decades now. Jones himself has been involved as a member of many of those controversies. We're always wanting to maybe grab the microphone and not letting the coach do this thing. I want to bring in also number 6. I got Stan Kroenke of the Los Angeles Rams. As a minority owner, Kroenke helped the Rams make their initial move to St. Louis in 1995. In 2010, he purchased the controlling share of the Rams franchise, and things changed, and he moved them back to Southern California, resulting in a massive lawsuit from St. Louis against Kroenke and the NFL as a team. However, the Rams have been quite successful since Stan Kroenke took over, culminating in a 2022 Super Bowl victory. And they also lost a Super Bowl when they went up against the New England Patriots. You got to look at this team. They won a Super Bowl also when they beat the Cincinnati Bengals. I want to bring a team out west in Dimner Hills, California. I got the San Francisco 49ers. Now get York. The 49ers are a dominant team in the NFC. Denise DeBartolo, York gifted the control of the 49ers franchise to her son Jed in 2008. And since then, York's tenure as controlling owner has been a bit rocky, though largely positive. He orchestrated the great hire of Jim Harbaugh, which led them with an inch of a Lombardi trophy when the lights went out down in New Orleans, though he also fired Jim Harbaugh later. A controversial move a few years later. After a couple of misses, he landed head coach Kyle Shanahan, who's been proven to be a good coach for the 49ers, though it hasn't led to any Super Bowl. Not wins yet, but they have been to the Super Bowl, and they lost to the Kansas City Chiefs in those Super Bowls. But they've been knocking on that door. You got to give them credit. They also lost to the Rams when the Rams went to the Super Bowl. So they've been at the top of the NFL pantheon of greatness over the last several years under Shanahan. The 49ers have been one of the best teams in the NFL over the last half decade, and they look very promising right now to keep knocking on that door. Now, people have their own thoughts about it, but I like what they've done so far with Shanahan. I got to also bring in number 7 in Big C's list. I have Jeffrey Lurie of the Philadelphia Eagles. He bought the Eagles in 1994, has largely fielded a competitive football team. Over the last 30 years, the Eagles have played in 3 Super Bowls during his time, winning one in 2017. Although the team has gone through patches of turmoil, Lurie's ownership has largely been marked by stability, including at quarterback with a great touchdown, Donovan McNabb, and now touchdown Jalen Hurts, 2 African-American quarterbacks that guided Philadelphia to 2 Super Bowls, if that makes sense to you. I got to bring up another thought on one of the owners in the NFL that locks a lot of horns with the world of NFL brass. I got to bring up Art Rooney II. The Pittsburgh Steelers, against the Rooney family, they have 5 Super Bowl championships to their pedigree, but many of those are back in the days of Franco Harris and Terry Bradshaw and the the terrible towels, if that makes sense to you, the gold curtain defense, the steel curtain defense. Now, Art Rooney II, the Pittsburgh Steelers, one of the new owners in the NFL. Rooney took over control of the Steelers when his father passed away in 2017 during his short stint as owner. Rooney has overseen the retirement of franchise legendary quarterback Big Ben Roethlisberger and stuck by head coach the great Mike Tomlin, who's never had a losing season for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the Steelers have not made much noise since 2017, but are widely considered one of the most stable and successful franchises in the NFL. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I want to say I wish they had more opportunities for African Americans to join as a head coach in the NFL, because we know it's an oligarchy of power, and oftentimes people are kept out. Even forming a group to buy, they've been fought against, and that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I want to close out by saying Jody Allen, the Seattle Seahawks, another new owner. Allen inherited the Seahawks from her brother Paul Allen after his passing in 2018. She had been one of the more behind-the-scenes owners for a while, but made a huge move this offseason by making the call to part ways with Super Bowl winning head coach Pete Carroll. We'll see if new head coach Mike Macdonald can elevate Seattle back to the top of the NFC, where they have not been in about a decade. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I would hope that there's more opportunities for African Americans to be a part of ownership in a league where about 75% of the players are African American. Well, that's my story. I'm sticking with it. May lightning strike! I love bringing you sports. I love bringing you reparations. I love even bringing you some news and some politics on the Big C Sports Podcast, and that's what I do with every show. Parlez-vous français? From Paris, France, may the athletes in the USA win, and may they win big. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! We do believe in miracles, as Big C's nominated the President of the United States of America. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. As I always tell you on every Big C Sports Podcast, if you're going to drink, don't drive. If you're going to drive, don't drink, because mothers against drunk drivers are mad, and fathers against drunk drivers are mad. It's one of the easiest things not to do. You can call Uber, you can call Lyft, you can walk it off, you can sleep it off, but don't let someone you love get behind the wheel of a car and start drinking and driving, if that makes sense to you. The life you save may be your own, or someone you love, or someone loved by somebody else, or somebody who loves you. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. Well, as I always tell you, back in the day, there's a man known by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He's known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, and you sting like a bee. Rumble, young man, rumble. He said, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Ali said, I'm so pretty, I can't possibly be beat. And every time I listen to Big C Sports, I want to trap in reparations at last. Reparations at last. Thank God Almighty. Reparations at last. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. And you know I always do Big C Sports. I pay homage to my beautiful family legacy. On my mother's side, my great-grandparents called them Mama and Pop. They were beautiful, loving, kind great-grandparents. Love them with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Oftentimes, if we didn't pay attention, Mama would say, boy, go get me a switch. But I love going into the kitchen when she was cooking those ribs. And we grab the plate and say, I don't need a plate. I can grab it off the grill. She said, boy, go get a plate before you burn your fingers. I said, great-grandma, I don't need a plate. I'm hungry now. And she said, go get a plate before you burn your fingers, boy. And then, of course, we burn our fingers. And then we go get the plate. You know how boys get down. I love them with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then my beautiful grandparents, Muddy and Hezekiah, they were seers. They could oftentimes tell you a lot about a person's past, present, and future just by looking at them. And they still help me to this day. Love them with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then I can always depend on my mama, the most beautiful mama in the history of the universe. Started a hairstyle program, a food program, and also coached an all-boys Little League baseball team to the championship of the universe. Always saying, rise and shine, the best person I ever met in my life. Mama, I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. You hear my praise. You hear my praise, man, lightning strike. You hear my praise, mama. You can put me on top of the Christmas tree. You can always put me on top of the Christmas tree. And always praying. Best person I ever met in my life. On my father's side, my grandparents, Albert and Alberta Curry, they were pastors. They owned 3 churches. They owned 2 gas stations in Oakland. I remember walking through the hallway about 8 years old, about 10 o'clock at night, and I felt somebody touch me on my forehead. She said, what are you doing, young man? Going to get some more cookies? I said, what are you doing, Grandma? It's 10 o'clock at night. You normally go to bed at 8:30. She said, what are you doing, young man? Going to get some cookies? I said, cookies is baby crap to what I'm doing, Grandma. I'm going to get my reparations. But a couple of cookies wouldn't hurt. It's been a long week. She said, there's something about your voice. I love hearing you speak. And now I'm streaming on 29 podcast platforms and on 4 TV platforms. I love my great-grandmamas and my grandmamas with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And my great-granddaddies and my granddaddies, too. And then my beautiful father. You know, they also own 40 acres of land. The homestead gave white people 160 acres of land. That's not fair. That's why we need reparations. And I learned about that when I was a young boy. Treat people fair. And then I want to give praise to my beautiful father, former United States Air Force fighter pilot, chief mechanic, always making sure that planes can fly high so we can all stay safe at night. Always saying, develop your mind to its highest extent. Love my dad with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then my beautiful brother Todd, with that bombastic voice, sound like thunder and lightning when Todd would speak. Always saying, go forward. A voracious reader. In fact, Todd would say, always go forward. Don't look back because you don't have much backside in the first place. I said, I love my backside, Todd. He always encouraged me to do more squats so I'd have a bigger backside, if that makes sense to you. But no matter how big my backside, we love the movie Malcolm X, but we also love Pulp Fiction. And when I think about the Olympics and Noah Lyles and how fast he runs, and all these other great athletes from the Team USA, there's a scene in Pulp Fiction that had Ben Rames and Bruce Willis and John Travolta and the great Sam Jackson. Before the big fight, Ben Rames said, come here, Bruce, sit your butt down. He said, take this envelope. Remember, your butt goes down in the 5th round. See that flip? And so Bruce Willis said, okay, my butt goes down in the 5th round. And he told him what a lot of athletes are saying in Paris. That stinking sensation you're feeling, well, that's just pride flubbing with you. And he told him what a lot of athletes tell their competition. He said, blood pride. He said, pride only hurts. It never helps. You see, boxing is filled with a lot of unrealistic, muddly bluckers who think that butt gets better with time like fine wine, but it don't. In terms of vinegar, then it do. So one day you're going to thank Uncle Marsalis when you're chilling in the Caribbean. Remember, take this money and go have a good life. We know that Bruce Willis did not take the money, and he lost his LA privileges. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I love my brother Todd with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then my beautiful daughter Daisy, the most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe. College graduate with 2 degrees with honors and 3.5 years from Amazing University. Daisy, you can be anything you want to be. Always trust God. Isaiah 54:17, that no weapon formed against you ever prosper. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. You can be anything you want to be. Daisy, you're amazing. You said at the very first interview for Big C Sports Podcast, it became the first time in the history of the United States that NFL Monday Night Football started broadcasting live on the Wall Street Business Network. You can be anything you want to be. Always trust God. Always trust God. Always trust God. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful, handsome son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe. College graduate, very smart, erudite, a good man. Malcolm always trusts God. Isaiah 54:17, that no weapon formed against him will prosper. Malcolm helped me save trees. I used to always get the newspapers and look up stories for Big C Sports on players of the team. And one day Malcolm said, Dad, why don't you just Google it? And a light bulb went off. I've been Googling ever since. Now on 29 podcast platforms and streaming on 4 TV platforms. One day Malcolm said, Dad, you want to see Big C Sports on TV? I said, sure. He said, pick up the remote, aim it at the TV, and say, play Big C Sports. You'll see your show come up. That's before it was even on the air. Now I'm streaming on 4 TV platforms and talks to add more streaming for Big C Sports Podcast. One beautiful, intelligent black man, Malcolm. You can be anything you want. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Always trust God. Always pray, pray, pray. And then Big C, with all that wisdom knowledge over the years, like my great-grandparents coming out of that barn, always saying you got to believe, you got to believe, you got to believe. Say, let's get ready to rumble. I love to say welcome to the show. As we nominated Big C Sports Podcast, I have no scripts. I have no 3-bit teleprompters. All I have no producer in my ear. All I have is this gland in the brain. Is called the pineal gland. The ancients call it the third eye. They say that's how you talk to God. And that's why I always scream so loud on Big C Sports Podcast. I want God to hear me. God, you hear my praise. You hear my praise, praise, praise. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. You know I've been praying and asking, and I think that is done. It's done in Jesus' name. And that's my story. I'm sticking with it. I always end every Big C Sports Podcast by paying homage to the inimitable Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and America's 16th president, Abraham Lincoln. They said, reparations at last! Reparations at last! Thank God Almighty! Reparations at last! Say it 2 more times. They said, reparations at last! Reparations at last! Thank God Almighty! Reparations at last! Say it one more time as they come up under crescendo. Reparations at last! Reparations at last! Thank God Almighty! Reparations at last! I thank you. I appreciate you. And I hope that you have a super fantastic day.